the voice of the North.
Alan Robson's Night Owls, the phone-in that gets you talking.
Greatest Hits Radio.
You are with the big one, and getting an awful lot of messages through. Leanne says, please give me a shout-out. She hasn't put a surname on for obvious reasons. She's not known by that name in Tenerife. She's an escort working on the Canary Islands. Do you wear a mask? How does that work? Anyway, just getting into details there. Samantha Ritson says, Alan, please give a shout-out to Daniel. It's our first wedding anniversary next week. It's also the day of his very first driving lesson. Hell's teeth, do you remember yours? I remember mine. It was as if we had kangaroo petrol. Says, now gently just take your foot, put your foot on the gas. Page. Yeah, there was... Break! He was screaming, there's a wow coming. But anyway, Samantha's saying, guess which one he's looking forward to the most, the anniversary or his first driving lesson? Blimey, you're worth 1,000 times more than a driving instructor. Trust me. Craig Jock Graham just wants a mention for the locked lobsters in sea houses. Good luck with that. Michael Vin Fosda says, I'm listening to you on my 2,000 quid amp and my sound system that I bought in 1997, patched to Alexa. Sounds amazing. Some of the old kit, and I know we're talking tech, I've got some really old Technic stuff that I've had for like 20 odd years. Still works an absolute dream. Also, Glenn Hunter Fitzy says, I worked my backside off last weekend, and then last Sunday the pub got robbed. I am losing my faith in human morality. Humans haven't got much morality. Far too many of them that just fall under the necessary level. It's very sad. Scumbags. I hope karma comes around and their next poo turns out to be a hedgehog. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's get a call on board. I think we shall talk to Ash, who is with us near Dundee, I'm told. And hello, Ash. Oh, hang on, that's not happening. Let's try again. Oh, there you are. Hello, Ash. How you doing?
I am all right, man. How's it going?
Champion. So what are you talking about tonight?
Well, I'm sure I'm probably not going to be able to come back at Newcastle after seeing half of this. Basically, right. Let's start off with the lass who joined ISIS.
Right.
And wanted to come back, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you've seen photographs flirting about, right? But there's actually been ones of her, I suppose you could say, doing decapitation and whatnot on the civilians over in Afghanistan and all that.
I haven't seen them, haven't heard about them. Where were these shown then?
It was
online.
Aye. So I don't know if it's proper, but like you know what I mean.
Right.
But a lot of them are saying it is her. So I'm like,
Right.
But if it is, do you not think she should be technically done for war crimes?
Yes. If she was found guilty, but hang on, innocent before proven guilty. There's been some stuff on the line that hasn't been proven one way or another.
Oh, aye.
However, what I do remember, what we can talk about is when she got contacted Britain to want to come home for the very first time, she was interviewed, and one of the things that she said was, you saw your partner apparently had beheaded a lot of people, and their heads were in a plastic dustbin with a bin liner in, so they didn't mark it. Horrific. And what she said was, were you not appalled when you saw that? And she says, no, that's just what was happening at the time. Now, I don't know about you, but I've watched a lot of daft horror films and stuff, but if I saw that for real, I'd be sick to my stomach.
I'm sure it would bend people's heads, like you know. I mean, there's lads who've trained in the army for so long and come back with PTSD because they've seen so much stuff. They've watched their mates get blown apart next to them, you know.
Sure. Bottom line is, to me, if you choose a side and it's not ours, you've made your bed, as far as I'm concerned.
That's the way I look at it. Like, I mean, it's the whole world's gone nuts. I mean, the BLM, ALM, all that, man. I mean, technically, them two are causing the biggest segregation since segregation.
Do you think so? Do you not think? I mean, there is in this country, whether you like it or not, there is still an awful lot of racism. You just got to
Aye.
go down streets where there's mixed communities, and you'll hear some knacker saying
Definitely, but I
something.
think it could have been put better, like, Black Justice Matters.
Right. Well, maybe.
Something like, because that's what they're doing, isn't it? They're talking about the injustice that they're getting from the police and all that.
Yeah.
And they're saying Black Lives Matter. I totally understand that. But the people who are saying our lives matter, but the both sides are saying lives matter.
Yeah, and I suppose
It's kind of an oxymoron in its way.
and you've also got to look at every other colour, because let's face it, there's about a dozen colours out there, and they all matter.
Exactly.
But
But that's the thing, I just didn't get it, man. The world's gone nuts.
well, you see, about 20 or 30 years ago, they did that thing where they did a thing called positive discrimination, where
all right.
if somebody... now, to me, you talk about an oxymoron, that
Aye.
if ever there was one, it's that. Because how can discrimination ever be positive? And what
Exactly.
the idea was, well, we're going to give people of colour, any colour other than freckly, we're going to give them a job ahead of... Now, the bottom line is, I don't care what colour anybody is, but it should go on who's the best for the job, full stop. Ignore colour. It should be the best person who's got the best qualifications, who's going to do the job the best. And it should be that way now when we're coming to a time when we hear mass unemployment, 4.5 million, and all this kind of to terrify us.
Well, it's just the whole. It's the way that it's being done. You know what I mean? Because you're always going to have the wee little ones wanting to cause chaos in every group, no matter what side it is. So you're always going to have them lot who start the scrapping out for protest and all sorts.
But whatever you call it, you're still going to get the racists coming out and kicking off against any peaceful kind of protest, aren't you? So how do you put it right though? Because I've lived in areas where there's mixed communities. I actually think it's a positive, not a negative. But in those communities, even just a few weeks ago, there was some person... I could really use a swear word right now. This character came along, and he's just shouting into shops where people are working. And, you're a this and you're a that. And I've never had somebody shout at me, you white,
No.
So there is that discrimination, and we've got to try and put a lid on it if we can. How else do we do it unless you have something like Black Lives Matter?
It's so strange because you could put it down to being hate is taught, but love is natural. You never see a little white kid and a little other kid coming up and going, "Oh, you're a different colour. I don't like you."
Yeah.
No, do you, Nick? They hug each other and they play with each other. It's hate. I reckon it's taught through hate, me. Like, you know what I mean?
I think you're absolutely right, and you just need one dodgy racist parent, and that kid's smeared for life, isn't he? Because he's going to grow up thinking, well, that's how you treat people, and it's
well, that's it. I mean, like, there's movies like American History X. I mean, if you don't take the actual message from that, then it kind of looks like it's glorising it, Yeah. Because it's like, the whole family goes through it, but his dad got killed. He joined one of the Aryan Brotherhood type of things. But people can take that and go, "Oh, right, is that what it's all about? Oh, yeah, so they kill white." There's always going to be some idiot who misinterprets something.
No, always. No, that is a fact. I just don't know what the answer is, because the Black Lives Matter thing, I thought, when it first came out, I thought, hang on a second.
Yeah, man.
It's just another one of them things. But then, like 1 million people come out on the streets and march across the world. So you think, well, it obviously needs to be done, but has it done any good? I don't know yet. Because I'm not of colour, and I haven't benefited from any of it.
I would say it's raised a lot of awareness, and it's actually opened a lot of eyes.
Right.
But
that's a good thing.
To do it, definitely. But the only thing is that it's mostly being done through rioting, looting, harm, aggression. All these things that are taking away other people's livelihoods. We're already having to shut down shops and everything because of the coronavirus, and then the people are protesting and doing all that. So it's a double-edged sword, really, isn't it?
It is. It's a fair point you make, I have to say it. But Shamima Begum, what do you think? She should stay where she is, or should we just cut off her? If we cut off her legal aid, she's dead in the water.
Very true. But, at the same time, she picked a side. She also chose a terrorist side, which was killing troops from the UK and America. Therefore, when the Allies get involved and you've got two countries being harmed, even by civilians moving over to move on to the other side, you've still got to look at it as, well, she joined them because she knew what was going on. Doesn't matter if she's a teenager or not. And that's fair enough. Hormones, but you can't blame it on that. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know what's going to happen with it. I mean, I think they're going to end up bringing her in, spending a fortune to ultimately, if common sense prevails, send her back and say, sorry, you didn't make it. But I just don't understand why we have to spend any money on this at all. I mean,
but this is
any
thing,
money.
I mean, as much as we spend money on that, it's unreal because not so long ago we were in a recession.
Yeah. Yeah.
How has the government just magically managed to pull all this money out of nowhere to sort jobs and DWP? And how the hell have they managed to do that in the crisis?
Well, I don't understand that. And you say the Shamima Begum thing to me just kind of sets a precedent, and it says
It does.
she joined ISIS, now she wants back, so therefore every other person who joined ISIS can then try and come back and get an equal amount of money spent on them. Otherwise, the precedent doesn't work. So they have to. They don't have a choice. They have to give them money, and they have to come over here and try and fight to stay or to come back to Britain again.
But surely even then there's going to be even more money spent on top of what you've just said because they're going to have to watch them because they'll be on the terrorist list. So like they're going to have more money for the government to actually keep an eye on them and monitor the whole thing.
I'm a great believer in finding some justice in the middle of all of this, but I don't see it. I don't see how it's possible because she made a decision. You know, if you say, I don't want to live with you, I hate you, in fact, I'm going to join a side that's killing you. Oh, made a mistake, sorry. I mean, that's not acceptable in my book.
Do you feel bad? Oh, that's all right then. Come on. No, that's...
Forgive and forget.
Yeah, no, you're all right, pal.
Well, you can forgive and forget some things. I'm just not sure you can forgive that kind of stuff.
No, you can't, man. I mean, when you're getting involved in the fact of that, it doesn't matter whose lives you're taking, even if it's the natives of that land, it doesn't matter. You've still got blood on your hands. It's like the people who hold and record people getting beat up because they think it's funny. The people who hold and record and having that camera are just as to blame because they're just standing there laughing and egging them on, not doing nothing to intervene.
And they're actively advertising it as well.
Precisely.
Yeah. Hey, gotcha. Ash, thank you very much. Strong words. Good to hear from you, man. Take care.
Bye.
Love to Dundee. Oh, well, near Dundee. Not actually Dundee. Just near it. I don't know where he is. He's lurking outside. And I think on a similar topic, we got Catherine, who's from Gateshead. Hello, Catherine. Good to have you back.
Hello.
Hello, darling. So what are you talking about tonight?
A little bit of everything, really. I was going to talk about the girl from ISIS.
Yes, go for it.
I was just pretty much going to say she's made her bed, she can lie in it, really.
Right. Well, is there any mileage in her coming back and having her day in court so that she can have her say and British justice can have its say and all that?
I don't think she deserves that say, really. It doesn't really set a good example for other 15-year-olds that might be thinking about this decision, and they'll think, well, we can go out there, we can do whatever, and then we can just say we're sorry and we'll come back.
Right.
We'll get brought home.
Yeah.
All the media attention, and
it's just...
I don't agree with it.
Somebody also said to me that they had doubts about her children, how her children died and stuff, because we have heard stories of other ISIS members who their wives or concubines or whatever the hell they were, because I'm fairly sure they didn't stand at any altar anyway, their partners had children, but they didn't want children to slow them down, so those children were put out of the way. I'm not saying that she did in any way, but it begs the question, if some did it...
You don't know what's true,
You don't know what's true and what's not true. The bottom line is she's going to be given a chance to come and have her say, not just about that, but about everything, about her whole life and how she's behaved while she was in that situation. But the question is, should she be allowed to or not? And I think in general terms, we got to be a bit careful, because I think we do have to be just. Would we be being just if we said blanket? If somebody joins a terrorist organisation of any kind, the British government have the right to exclude them from the country. Now, I'm fairly sure there's a law that says that somewhere.
Yeah, I was reading online that can revoke your British citizenship or something.
And
but
they
they
d-
haven't done that with her, have they?
Well, I thought they had. I did genuinely believe that I thought that they had done that with her. But if they haven't, that's a quick way to end any potential trail, isn't it? You revoke it and say, well, tough potato. Yeah, and just, as you say, you made your bed, go and lie in it now. I just don't understand, because if you have brainwashing is something that has always happened during the world wars and what have you. It's happened throughout history. You put the idea in somebody's head and you reinforce it, and you turn them to do whatever you want them to do. I get all of that. But the bottom line is, once you've been brainwashed, is it so easy afterwards for you to say, oops, I think I've made a faux pas. Let me come back and I live in your community. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody that's had anything to do with ISIS within 100 miles of where I live.
Definitely not, no. And I think the second thing I was going to say is, you're talking about what was on your wall.
Yeah, what's on yours?
Well, when I was younger, we used to cut pictures out of magazines.
So did we?
Use them as posters as your bedroom wall.
Yeah, mine started with a couple of proper posters. You know, the ones, because there used to be a place in Newcastle called the Card Bar, and all the Newcastle kids went there, and there'd be either pop stars or rock stars or old-fashioned Hollywood people, and I quite got into that too. And I put a couple.
Used to come from Woolworths.
Oh, Woolies had a rack where you could go flick, flick, flick. Yeah, I remember those. And I think I got a Lord of the Rings one back there before there was a film or anything. And what they used to do in the Card Bar, they'd sell you a couple of really big posters. And what we did at home was, it went over the damp patch. You know, where there was a bit of damp on the wall. Yeah. You were just big enough to kind of cover the necessary bit. And then in between, like you, there's my favourite band on the back of Smash Hits magazine or something. That got cut out. That got stuck on. Before you knew where you were, you couldn't see wallpaper. Yeah. You know, it just went right across the wall. Brilliant.
And then you used to get wrong for sellotaping it on the wall.
Absolutely. I mean, who did you put on your wall then? Who was the cutouts?
In my days, it was all about Busted, the band.
Oh, blimey. Right.
Yeah. It was mainly just whatever came in the magazine.
I love Charlie. I love Charlie, mate.
Right, yeah. He was actually a nice... I've been lucky enough to meet him on a few times, because he turned into a bit of a rocker. He got another band going after Busted. Fight Star, it was called. And it was quite bodacious, and it didn't quite...
I grew up quite a lot after that.
No, I would imagine. Right. I think he did a bit, but then he went back to it, to my surprise. But hey-ho.
I think quite a few of them are coming back now.
Yeah. Well, they've got to find a way to make money, because they can't play live anyway. That's a scary, scary way. What else you got then, Catherine?
And that's it, apart from we were talking about the sweet shop last week, and I've sent you some goodies in, but you should get them this week.
Oh, blimey, that's lovely. I've just seen Chris leap up in the air and punch the sky, so happy days. I'll share them with the troops. No bother. That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
No
very
problem.
kind.
That's everything.
Very kind. Remind everybody the name of the sweet shop, for heaven's sake.
Kets and Pop in Roker.
There you go. Don't miss it. Okay, thank you, Catherine. All the best.
Thank you. See you later.
Take it easy. Bye-bye. Well, do you agree? Do you disagree? What's the crack? We need to know everything about everything. Old Tech. Will in Durham's been on. He says, my old Tech were originally Game Boy with Super Mario. Blimey, I go back far enough. I remember Pong. Everybody got really excited. It's a game you can play on your television. Blimey, that's space age. So then we got the game. Beep. Boop. Beep. Boop. Yeah, wasn't quite what we thought. But anyway, back to this. He says, my Siemens mobile phone as well, which reminds me, I used to clean the corridors in the Siemens factory years ago. And of course, I had the Amstrad 464 with the green screen. Took ages for a game to load. Mainly Oh Mummy, and then it would crash and you'd have to reload the cassette again. Good old days, though, he says. Yeah, I remember, the thing that I remember, I mentioned this on the show before, was fax machines. I had a fax machine, and one of my mates, brackets, a pervert, I shall not name him, because you would know who it was, and he decided to send me a picture of a semi-naked woman by fax. And it used to... After 10 minutes, you can see her brow. You know, you can't get titillated like that. It's just impossible. But anyway, let's crack on. Oh, I've just got a note that's come in. Wondering, there's a picture of, it's Stallone as Rocky. It's a painting of him as well. And, what does he say about it? Does he have put any words? I'll read, Alan, this is what's on my wall above my stairs. I painted it myself about 12 years ago. Can you give me a shout? Brilliant. It's Lee Donison. Lee Donison. And if you painted that, you should be in galleries. That's tremendous. And it's a whopping size. It covers the top of his wall. You know when you're going downstairs and there's like a blank wall facing you? He's got Rocky painted with like a blue and white background. He's got his belt on and his gloves, and it looks the spit and dab. That is the most impressive thing I've seen on somebody's wall in years. Top job. Let's go talking to somebody else. Who we got? We have Anil, who is in Newcastle upon Tyne. Hello, Anil.
Good evening, Alan. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. What are you talking about?
All sorts, mate. Let's reminisce. Back in the 90s, I remember, Exhibition Park. There was you, it was me. You're wearing your puffy jacket on, your puffy shoulders, had your long hair. I remember Sky High was there, the Ford Transit van.
Yep.
And also Steve Bell was there from Metro Radio.
Yep.
And also, it was just brilliant. The picture that I got of you.
That's good. No,
yeah.
it was fun. It was one of those daft times. And we all dressed that badly at the time, so don't...
My hairstyle was worse, man, I'm telling you. And another thing I remember, on one of your shows way back about 20-odd years ago or something, Alan, I remember, you had, when you play a tune, you ring and you win a prize. I remember I actually won a prize.
Oh, brilliant.
I won the Ultimate CD Collection, the rock album.
Brilliant.
And then sells autographed, all the Wish You Well, all the best, Alan Robson.
Hey.
That's two massive big things for me. And also, I give a massive shout out to my good friend, Doc Anand from across the water there in Spice FM as well. So obviously, again, a good friend of mine.
He's
for
good
many, many years.
Yeah, he's a hero.
And yeah, Alan, I think at the moment, for everybody, it's been a very, very difficult time at the moment. So much is going on.
Yeah.
And we don't know my left foot from right foot, And I think at the end of the day, I think it's important that people don't lose it, because at the moment it's just pandemonium at the moment everywhere.
Yeah.
People are just not acting like people. They're being more inhumane than humane.
How? Explain what you mean. What do you mean, Anil? They're being...
Well, again, Alan, if we look across what's happening across in the pond, right? Okay, and what's happening there, and then that like the torch paper to what happens in this country.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think more and more people now I think they don't understand what it's like to live in a multicultural society. For me, I like to sort of puff my chest out and breathe out and say, it is in the ideal world, what I always say, I was brought up in 67 in Elzick until 1990, Alan, and that's, a lot of stuff going on then. Back in those days, those were tough times.
Sure.
And we learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And I think now, I think in my ideal situation, I like to shout out to everyone, to all your listeners out there, we have to understand one thing, and that is we have to understand diversity, inclusion, equality, freedom, and justice for all protected characteristics in their work-life balance. This is very important.
It is, absolutely. But this Black Lives Matter thing, we were talking about it before.
Yeah.
Has it benefited the community for people who are not white? Has it helped at all? Or?
I think, Alan, if you look back in history, over 400 years ago, white supremacy, and then you look at white privilege, and you look at slavery, I think, especially for this generation now, they are more clued up than we were. Back in our days, 60s and 70s and 80s, when you had the programs like Love Thy Neighbour, and you had the programs of certain things that were seen now as offensive and aggressive, and again, racist. I think we learned from that in a hard way, and I think now we've got more empowerment to challenge. We can challenge within reason. I think people can understand that. We shouldn't put up with stuff. No. If we live in this country and we abide by the law of the land, and my personal opinion is that you should reap the fruits of reward and enjoy a peaceful life in harmony with your neighbours.
100%.
Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, we all play a major role in society. Well, that's what makes Newcastle brilliant. A multicultural place, whatever. Lots of things happened back in the days. Obviously I've seen what's on my wall. You know, I'm a being rep for my union at national level. And again, you've seen my other pictures where I posted with Chris Ascenti, which on the Spice Girls, which I still admire to this day. So again, Alan, you know, and I think over the years, when you get older, I think you sit back and think to yourself, you know, what's my sole purpose here? What am I doing wrong to be deserved and to be treated this way? I think we need now in the education curriculum, we need Black history. Let people from all different cultures understand what culture really means.
Yeah.
You know, fair enough, they've took down statues of this and that, fair enough, because it reminds. But then again, a big thing that kept in my mind was I was watching a program on TV about a few weeks ago, and then all of a sudden it came up, the Elephant and Castle. And I went, wow. And then that depicts slavery, the RAC from back in the days.
Yes.
And again, and that brings on hurt. Whatever our ancestors did, and the generations before us did, Alan, is put us where we are now. And we've got to stand up strong, you know, and have that empowerment behind us to say, you know, we are as equal as everybody else is. And that's where the problem is. Back in the days, Alan, when people say there's no jobs, you take all the jobs. There were jobs back in those days, Alan, but I tell you one thing, right? When the jobs were there, especially when the Poles came over to do all the decorating building work, they did all the jobs, didn't they? And now they contribute towards the economy, and now you've got barbers coming up, new fresh barbers coming up, doing hot towels, flames, and nose wax, ear wax, eyebrow wax, facials, hot towels, you name it. That's a new thing. Again, they're bringing to the economy, and people are going to understand that. And I think what I've learned here, Alan, is this, is for me, I've got to be happy in my skin. You know, all my life, I've suffered through that. And when people say to me, you know, nowadays racism, what is it like? Because what it's like is when you wake up each morning and you walk out your front door and then someone says something to you. Is it acceptable? In those days it was, because we couldn't change it. Nowadays it now sort of stems down the fact of it now incites racial hatred under the Public Order Act, and that's a criminal offence, and a person can be arrested on that. I think people need to stand up for themselves. But what's happening across the pond, Alan, in my opinion, is absolutely horrific, horrendous. Had that poor guy who lost his life, where that guy put his knee on his neck for, 9 minutes and 45 seconds. And then that was replicated in this country. And the officer got suspended for it. What is that telling us?
No, absolutely.
I think the community has to get together and stick strong, because if we don't, Alan, we shouldn't be put in silos. We shouldn't be saying, oh, because you're Asian, you can't sort of mix with us, you can't work with us. Because you're black, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then you go back to my culture, Indian. We had the caste system. That's where it's come from, the caste system. Upper class, middle class, working class, untouchables, which are now developed. So I have millionaires in India now who worked underground, right? And they've been recognised, you know, as individuals, as people. And I think that's the way we should have in this country as well. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, as long as you are part of the city, and it goes across regional, locally, and nationally, right? We all play a role. For me, in my job role, what I do and what I do in my union is to say, look, I'm an Indian guy, British Indian, Geordie, right? But I'm the one who's going to march through the streets, fight against Islamophobia, fight against racism, because we all deserve a right to live in this country.
And not
say
right.
all the Muslims stay together, all the Bengalis stay together, all the Indians stay together, all the Sikhs stay together. If we go back to history again, Alan, and we touch on the fact of, obviously, colonization, 1947, the partition in India. But what's happened there? And that's why Hindus in their own people have their own differences, right? Which is wrong. Back in the days, the Hindus and Sikhs and Muslims lived together. And now you look back in India now, there's problems in India and Pakistan because of what they want. It's all corruption, it's all money. It makes you think. I'm grateful that I am who I am and the role I play. And obviously, again, you've seen all my pictures, what I do, so I'm a really passionate person, what I do. And obviously, I'm pleased to say Doc has been there with me in my workplace doing talks to our black members and delivering sort of presentations, you know, about the history of India, what kind of stuff and what we played and what role we played. And now I think the most important thing of all, Alan, is that even though we're in this pandemic at the moment, which I believe there's a reason behind it. Okay, let's say, for instance, if you look around where you are now, Alan, look at every electrical product in that room where you are now. Where you're sitting, I guarantee 90% is from China, which means world domination, population control. And that's what it's all about. We shouldn't be doing that. people are rebelling so much now, Alan. I'm not surprised when you look at London. People having wild parties and that. People having illegal raves and street parties. They're sick and tired to be told what to do. And I think at the end of the day, as soon as things get better for people, the better it is. Remember back in the days we had the feel good factor? Remember that, Alan?
Yeah, of course.
We were back in the years, but everyone's happy. The economy grew.
Yeah.
Everyone got on with everyone.
We could do with a batch of it now. I must move on, Neil, just to give other people a chance. But thank you very much again. Loved the message you sent. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on.
Take care, mate. Thanks, bye.
All the best. Bye-bye. And Neil there, and he's absolutely right. Dorothy says, I have a fax machine signed by Des O'Connor. What? You went to meet Des O'Connor carrying a fax machine. What? Amazing. But anyway, time for a bit of chat. A chat with the stars. Why not? And if we're talking stars, we might as well get an absolute superhero. Now, Alice Cooper. I caught him on the telephone. I've spoken to him a few times, but I caught him on the phone and I was talking about his character, if you know what I mean.
To everybody that knows you as a human being, you're Vince, you're a nice guy. Everybody in the business knows you're a nice guy. Yet as soon as you get up there, this alter ego takes over. Has this not left you with problems outside the business?
You know what? Having Alice Cooper as a character is like having diarrhea. You know what I mean? It's like when I get up on stage, all of the garbage gets flushed right out.
So it's therapeutic for you?
When I get done with a tour, I am just clean as a whistle. You know, physically I'm in great shape because I don't drink anymore, right?
Right.
So an hour and a half on stage under the lights is like an hour and a half aerobic.
Right.
You know,
right.
And then I get rid of all the mental garbage on stage, and I get to be this character who is just despicable in a lot of places, and you know, and in the end, I feel great. I think everybody should have an Alice.
Although I wouldn't want to be with them at the time.
Alan Robson.
Night Owls.
Podcast. Let's get down to it and let you know exactly what tonight is going to be all about. I'm just going to surprise you, I think. Certainly in the first part, where I have a tradition of surprising you with stuff you would never possibly have thought. And today, I'm asking you, what is the stupidest, daftest, craziest job that you've ever done? Okay? What is the daftest, most awful, horrific job that you've ever done? Because a lot of famous people had ridiculous jobs too, and you would never be able to guess. American President Gerald Ford, who took over when Richard Nixon stepped down, he was once a male model. You'd never think it to look at him. Pol Pot, who was responsible for massacring hundreds of thousands of innocent people, was once a Buddhist monk. Ronnie and Reggie Kray, yeah, we all know the Kray twins, but did you know they used to be Alvin Stardust's agent? No surprise that he got a lot of gigs. Also, Stalin, whose real name was Joseph Vissarionovich Zhugashvili, he was a trainee priest before he massacred numerous members of his own population. Lenin, Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, he was a lawyer before he ignored the law and ran Russia the way that he thought. Heinrich Himmler, one of Hitler's henchmen, he used to be a clerk for a fertilizer company before he took in all of the shit that Hitler was peddling. Joseph Goebbels was an accountant, presumably to help him add up the bodies. Al Capone, yeah, Big Al, he used to be a used furniture dealer. Once again, how come we don't already know this kind of stuff? Nostradamus, before he became a prophet, do you know what his only claim to fame was? He wrote books about jam making. How he became a prophet? Well, he made it up as he was going along, but how he became a prophet, no one knows. And the other one is probably the most surprising. Genghis Khan, who led his hordes across Europe and across the East and murdered, again, hundreds of thousands of people. And he used to be a goat herd. So, just talking about jobs made me think, well, let's move on and let's take a look at occupational hazards. Well, as you know, occasionally you'll get someone like Marie Curie who's studying radium and they end up becoming radioactive and die of it. Occupational hazard, you would say. Well, these are a little bit more peculiar, as you'd expect on a grizzly. Do you know that the only recorded death of an obstetrician during childbirth happened back in 1996 when a doctor, Arvo Nikula from Finland, was holding upside down the newborn baby that he just helped deliver when it kicked him in the right temple, kicked him just above his eye. That triggered a fatal hemorrhage and the pair of them fell to the floor. The baby survived, the doc didn't. Staying in the same part of the world, Sweden, their medical research teams said that office workers risk damaging their health by inhaling noxious fumes emitted by their flatulent colleagues. Passive farting. High amounts of human methane can lead to a variety of really serious health problems, heart disease, respiratory problems, and all that kind of stuff. Makes you wonder when you've got so many people all in one place. Maybe like the ministry up at Long Benton, how do they control the methane? How come each and every one of the blocks there don't have a flame burning in the corner of the room just to get rid of it? You know, like they do on oil rigs. An American author, Gavin Witchett, was mugged and badly beaten up in Indiana. He was chiefly known for a best-selling book that urged his fellow Americans to indulge in random and spontaneous acts of kindness. That sounds just about right, doesn't it? Also, in May in 1994, a French clown called Yves Rocher, he died during his circus act. He was the very first clown ever to choke to death after getting a custard pie in the face. Occupational hazards, you might think. Let's stay in France. Pierre Lemur lost the sight in his right eye after a motorist accidentally spat a peanut into it. A fella called Jacques Lemant told the Paris magistrates that he was eating when he got stopped for speeding and he got questioned by the police officer, Lemur. And he said, I just wanted to clear my mouth so I could speak respectfully to the officer. But one of the peanuts hit him in the eye. Now, from the late 50s to the middle 60s, between 250,000 American military personnel were deliberately exposed to fallout from atomic test bombs, most of them without any form of protective clothing or equipment. And this was done with the knowledge of the American government for troop training purposes. The American Air Force Brigadier General A.R. Ludecker even complained because his men were not allowed to stand close enough to the blast.
This is Night Owl with Alan Robson.
What happened there? Hollywood McShane has been playing with me desk and something peculiar happened, but bear with me. As ever, we're smooth. Greatest Hits just sounds better on Greatest Hits Radio. You fix it, mate. You broke it. Anyway, over the last few months, as you know, it's been a challenge for everybody. We've had to live differently, work differently, socialise differently, and stay away from a lot of people that we love. And it's not been the easiest thing in the world. Our charity, Cash for Kids, has been helping struggling local families who've also faced the worry on how to afford just to put food on the table and pay household bills. So far, thanks to you, we've managed to help 43,841 families. Now, that is rock star behaviour, and we thank you sincerely for it. And whilst life might well be returning to a relative normal, the impact and the crisis on vulnerable families is still immense. We need your help to help them, and that's why we're relaunching the Cash for Kids appeal. We're asking you to donate whatever you can. If you can't afford it, look after your family first, full stop. That's the priority. If you can help in any way, we'll help more local families with the basics. 100% of all of the donations will go directly to those that need it the most. And you can donate online at greatesthitsradio.co.uk/appeal. It's a lovely thing to do if you can. If you can't, we absolutely understand, because everybody's asking for cash somewhere, and that's just how it is. But we're trying to help, and we've helped an awful lot thanks to you guys. Absolutely. Anyway, let's get to the calls. I promised you Sam from Hortonless Spring. Hiya, Sam.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, darling. What are you talking about this week then?
There's a couple of things. Firstly, we're on about masks at the beginning of the night.
Yes.
My biggest bugbear with masks is when they don't wear them over their noses.
Yeah, it does seem to kind of... And then they'll sneeze or they'll cough and it's all out.
It's just, you see them and you say to them, can you not pull your mask up? And they're like, oh, no, I can't breathe if I pull my mask up. And you just think, right, okay.
But mind you, though, I do. Is it a bugbear? It's not a bugbear. I just think people look stupid when they're wearing those ones that look like a welder's mask. You know, the big... Yeah. That's just not a good... Mask. It's not a good look, is it?
It's not. I mean, we've bought them and you're supposed to do a candle test.
What's that?
Where you put the mask on and you try and blow a candle. And then if you can't blow the candle out, then you know the mask's working.
Oh, I see. Right, so but my question would be, if you sneezed on one of those welder's masks, it would be like alien. It would just be full of snot, wouldn't it?
You'd have to take it off and give it a rinse, wouldn't you?
Oh, I think yeah, but that's presumably spreading any more disease than you would have done if you'd have just sneezed on your hand or on your hanky.
Well, it is because they put them in their pockets or they put them in their handbags and they just take them off with their hands and just put them and shove them anywhere, then put them back on, or they wear them under their chin.
Yes. Or sometimes they don't. I saw somebody that had it over the nose, but they had the mouth bit out so they could have a drink. And you're thinking, it kind of defeats the object a bit, but okay. It's just everywhere you go, people have different ideas of what's okay. And I had to wear one because I had to go to a GP for my diabetes thing. So you have to, I couldn't get in. Ring us from the car park because you might be septic. You know,
we've got a buzz into ours.
Jeepers. So I'm thinking, what are they frightened of? They must be really wetting themselves, the people in doctors and dentists, because they're still not open, you know, for general terms. But do you think it works? Because I mentioned at the beginning that you can go into a pub, you can go into a restaurant, you can do an awful lot of things. And then you go on a bus, but you've got to have a mask on. You can go to the gym now and sweat and puff and pant. And you don't have to wear
I'm a beauty therapist, but I work doing eyebrows and eyelashes.
Right.
So obviously when Boris, in all his wisdom, said that beauty therapists could go back to work, I was so excited I could eventually have an income again.
Yeah.
But then I've got to wait until the 3rd of August because I touch people's faces. And I'll do that for any sort of facial massaging, eyebrow waxing, eyelash.
But hang on, you're touching faces though what about people who are shaving people and plucking them?
This was my argument. I was so angry. If I could have gone to Downing Street that night, I would have done.
Because I've seen barber shops queues, people queuing to get in because people haven't had a haircut since like February, so they're desperate to get in there and get shaved and all the stuff that they need. And I saw somebody giving like a wet shave, and he had what did they do? They put wax on 2 sticks and rammed them up somebody's nose. Now, I'm sorry, if noses and mouths are the places, where the tricky stuff happens, surely by ripping off the twigs that's up your neck, surely that's
attached for extra measure.
and all the disease, if there is any disease, it says it comes from noses and mouths and stuff. Surely if you ram wax up somebody's conch, you're likely gonna, certainly more than you doing a little bit of massage here and there. It's a double standard right from the start in every way.
I've got to wear a mask and a visor when I go back to work, so I have to wear a mask and a visor, and my clients have to wear a mask as well.
Why don't you wear a blindfold? Make a full set of it.
Wipe down aprons, gloves, everything, just to wax an eyebrow.
Hells bells. And I saw a place up where I am, and they're doing underarm waxes. They're doing other waxing and stuff. Now, I just don't see the difference between what they're doing and what you're not able to do till August. Doesn't make any sense to me at all, Sam. None at all.
It doesn't. But changing the subject on past tech.
Yeah. Oh, what was yours then?
I remember back in the 90s, my mum had an old the alarm clock radios that sat on the side of bed, the old black things with the big buttons.
Yeah.
And I still remember to this day, every night my mum would go to bed with you on our radio every night. So because her bed backed onto my wall, all I could hear was Alan Robson.
Great.
And it was just from now, every time I hear your voice, I'm taken back to hearing that radio every night.
Sweet.
And she also had, do you know the old hi-fis that used to stack up?
Yeah, you could put vinyl on them. You could put vinyl on them and they would pick one.
Yes.
Yeah,
her and my mum and my auntie were drunk one night and they were listening to you drunk and they actually rang up to tell you about one of their dreams that they had.
Sounds right.
And I still, honestly, so my past tech is definitely, that is the biggest memory, and just hearing your voice, it always just takes us back to there. So that was my past tech memory.
It's part of the Great North tradition. That's good.
Yes, you are indeed, Alan. You are indeed.
No, I was talking about us in general. We found a big gang, one of the biggest gangs ever, and we kind of looked after each other. It was very special, very special. But those stacky things, because I remember my mum bought me second-hand from like an auction, or it could have been a jumble sale. It was a tatty old thing. And if you could stack 3 and they'd play, but if you got to 4, it would slide. So all that kind of stuff happens. It was funny.
This was a hi-fi that was in a glass cupboard.
Oh,
and
right.
You could build it from having the cassette deck, then the CD deck, then the vinyl on the top.
Oh, blimey.
Or you could change the deck around, and it was just in one of these. It was like the off-brown glass.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's smoked glass, yeah.
Yes, so it's like the magnetic clicky, so you pushed it in to shut it, and you pushed it again to open it.
I had one.
And the vinyl's all stacked underneath.
Yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant. One of the first things I ever come across when I was about 5 or 6 years old, I discovered records because my nana had a thing called a radiogram. Mm-hmm. It was essentially just a record player and a cabinet, and on the front of the cabinet were like lines where the speakers were, and at the bottom there was like a little double doors, and inside about 30 old 78s, you know, the hard vinyl that travels at 78 RPM, flees around, and all of that going on.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the best toy in the world. It was brilliant back then.
You could change the speed as well of the newer ones, couldn't you? You could flick the switch and change the speed on them.
That used to be a trick, because I was on air during all of the vinyl days, and I had this guy who working on the night shift. He was a mate of mine, but he just showed up 5 minutes before a show, which I've always disliked that, because I like to think, get in early, get prepared, make sure you can do it properly. And he used to pile in at 5 to. So I used to make him pay about 3 times a week normally, he would put a song on and I'd say, oh, what's your first tune? And he'd say, it's Bridge Over Troubled, because for playlists, the same thing tends to come round. And out of all of the things to put on after a talk show, Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel will knock you to sleep. It's about 5-6 minutes long, and oh, God, blimey. So what I used to do was, just before I left the studio, which was normally during the first track, he'd say, oh, this is, I'm not going to give his name, this is, and I would just change the speed, because he'd be fiddling about, getting his stuff together, and I'd change it up to 45. So it would start at like 100 miles an hour, and it just brightened it up a bit.
Yeah.
He hated it, but it was funny back in the day. They were strange times, vinyl, especially if you got the one that went over the top of the record, like it sometimes did, and you had to fill till you got another one ready. Yeah, happy days.
Them days will never be forgotten, though, will they? I think it's all good memories. And
yeah, it's a funny thing because vinyl's back, and yet nobody ever mentions scratches anymore.
No.
And I'm sure they must still do it, because I can remember.
The record backwards to hear the message.
Well, I can remember putting like a coin on top of the thing with a needle to hold it on the record because it kept skipping. I don't know whether anybody's ever done that.
That's a good tip. No, I've never heard of doing that. Very good tip.
It ruins the record, but it does play. But if you're on the wireless, it's not your record, so you don't really worry so much. But anyway,
Can I just say as well, the subject of my mum, can you just give her a little bit of shout out? Because she's on holiday and she'll be listening. My name's Brenda.
Hello, Brenda. Have a lovely time. Was she doing anything nice, or is she doing like the days out thing?
No, she's caravanning in Hawes at the moment with her little touring caravan, and she's got my 2 sons with her. So
fantastic. So you're free as well. That's brilliant.
No, I've got 2 daughters. They're stuck here, so
right. Well, halfy sharing. That's fair. Have a lovely time, Brenda. Love to the family.
Very much, Alan.
Thanks for coming on, Sam. Take care.
No problem. You as well. Bye.
Bye. She's lovely. There you go. Old tech. Do you remember all of that? Got a lovely story of a dirty trick that I played. I'll tell you that later. Craig from Sea Houses. Now, do you remember we were giving out a few dedications earlier, and I mentioned the lockdown lobsters. Well, it seems we haven't got crabs, but we do have Craig from Sea Houses. Hiya, Craig.
All right, Alan. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good to hear from you. Explain the lockdown lobsters.
Well, basically, during the lockdown, we weren't allowed to go out and go fishing.
Sure.
So what we did was just go out and turn the pots over, and whatever we caught, we just sold to the locals. Oh,
brilliant. Well, I mean, how common are lobsters off the northeast coast? We got a lot out there?
Well, at the moment, not very common, but it's getting into lobster season now, so
right.
We're starting to see the benefits.
Now, I remember my dad finding one coincidentally in a rock pool just over my dad saw it, off the pier, and you look down, and when the tide's out, you can see the rocks down there. And my dad said, I said to my dad, there's a lobster in that rock pool down there. Well, within 5 minutes of that, he'd legged it round the corner, and I see him with his shoes and socks off, plodging across the rocks, trying to get it. He got hold of this thing, and the guy on the pier in the little hut came out, and he says, oh, you can't take that on, let me measure it first. He measured it.
It's going to be size.
And it was too small, and he had to take it all the way back and put it back in the pool.
Aye, that's a bit of a bugger.
Yes. But, so, I mean, what other stuff do you get in there? I'm presuming you'll get crabs occasionally. And
we get some crabs, but usually what we're finding now is the crabs is a bit quieter.
Right.
They're a bit softer and that. They're starting to shed their shells and stuff.
Right. So it's mainly it's lobsters. What else do you catch then? I mean, do you get fish in those pots?
Decent-sized cods and whatnot.
All right.
Pollock.
Brilliant. Oh, well, that's all right.
Some decent stuff. The boys that do the bit fishing trips, we do a bit fishing trip as well.
Right. So, I mean, do you flog them to the chippies on the high street or what?
Well, no. They disappear somewhere else to go and get them.
Right.
But anybody that turns up on the pier is more than welcome to buy a lobster or a crab or whatever we got going.
No, I used to love when I was a bairn. My parents used to take me up to Sea Houses, and they'd go off and have a pint or something, and they'd leave me to watch the fishing boats come in, and 9 times out of 10, one of the fishermen would chuck up a sea urchin or something for you to take home as a memento.
Well, I find it quite humorous sometimes. Steam into the harbour and you see them all standing off the end of the pier, and you're not going to catch anything there.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. No. I'm just surprised they don't all dragged in off the back of the trawler. But no, I would imagine that you're not going to be terribly lucky.
We don't get any of them anymore.
No.
It's just logo boats now.
It's a shame. Used to be full of boats coming in, dropping
you
the
just
catch.
don't get it anymore. I think a lot of it's just down to you're a stay local and whatnot.
Sad, because it's a lovely part of the world. I love that coastline, and a lot of people don't realise just how good the beach is if you go just slightly further up.
If anybody could see the view I get every day, I have to go to work with hangover. They'd try to end any day.
I bet.
The amount of times I sit there and I listen to radio Newcastle in the morning or whatever, and you hear they've got a 9mm tailback.
Yeah.
I think I'm quite glad I didn't stick in at school.
No, well, there you go. Hey, well, you've got it made if that's your life, Craig. Respect to you.
Yeah, tell you what it is. Doesn't matter how hungover you are, how rough you are, how bad you're feeling. You go out there in the morning, you look into the show, majestic.
Yeah,
best beach in the world.
We got a great sea out there as well. I love the North Sea. I know a lot of people criticise it, but I think even when it's wild and
why would you? What is there to criticise?
Well, people say, well, it's freezing and it's wild and it's blowy. That's the joy of it.
That's what makes it majestic.
Absolutely, 100%.
The days I go out there and I see dolphins flying about in front of the boat, and I think, well, you can't do that from your office.
That's a fact, absolute fact. And for all of those people that are just sitting in their cars hour after hour, trying to panicking and stuff, and you've got the freedom of it all. You're a very lucky man.
Yeah. I think it took me about 30 seconds to walk to work, and now I've got 3 miles of cow. You just watch the coast.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it.
Beautiful.
Craig, thank you for coming on. You've made me jealous. Thanks for coming on, man. Take it here. Bye-bye. There you go. Craig in South Shields, and somebody's just shouted something in my ear. I didn't have... Oh, we got time for a tune. Brilliant. Right, well, speaking of tunes, Lionel Richie. Oh, yeah. We were lucky enough to talk to the man, but this time about something that I'd noticed, especially when you're watching videos and DVDs of Lionel Richie and the Commodores. I'm talking about his hair.
Mind you did wear some scary clothes, man.
Do you understand that? Do you understand that hair? I want you to understand something. Do you know I'm trying to collect all those pictures from all over the world? I actually worked on that afro.
Did you?
For at least 30 minutes before that picture was taken. I mean, I actually planned to look like that. Do you understand that? I just want you to know that I can only chalk that up to youth. You understand me?
But what about the leap of faith then, to suddenly say, well, instead of being a Commodore, where there is a feeling of group security when there's other people to take the weight of responsibility, suddenly you're out on your own. What was that?
No, I beg to differ with you. You claim it's a leap of faith. I was pushed. Trust me, I was not looking forward to at all to going out here and being a solo. My confidence was just about, I would say, 30% there, just as the lead vocalist of the Commodores. Now, you mean to tell me I'm going solo? Are you crazy? No. I was pushed out that door, hollering and screaming. Believe me.
So when you were trying,
I guess this is not exactly the interview that you were looking for.
No,
what you're looking for is this confident guy who's saying, "Absolutely, I meant to do this." But I am probably the most reluctant writer right now in the business, because I didn't plan on doing all of this,
I would have thought anybody that had the guts to face the world with that afro would surely have the confidence to face up to anything.
And you want to know something that's terrifying, is that it took me 3 or 4 years to get enough guts to cut that afro off. And just as I cut the afro off, Snoop Doggy Dogg now has my afro and it's back in style again.
Oh, you sold it to him.
Am I having a problem with this? Hi, this is Lionel Richie with Alan.
on. We're all doing it together. We're in it together. About old tech, Mark's been on, and he says, I've got a Finlandia VCR which now doesn't work. I think the power supply's gone in it. I liked it because the tracking system was great. If you played a video and the picture was fuzzy or the sound was crackly, there was an auto tracking button and a manual up-down tracking buttons. Auto tracking was the best. Also, I have a Prima by Pace analog satellite receiver. Still worked when I tested it out in 2012. Picked up a few channels. We just seem to keep a hold of a lot of crap, don't we? Oh, I know it doesn't work, but I'll put it in the shed. You never know when it'll come in handy. It's broken, but we'll keep it. Don't cut the plug off. You might need that plug. Anyway, is it a dad thing? Because women don't do this. It's just like a blokey thing, isn't it? Anyway, let's crack on. We have now. Remember a little bit earlier on, I was telling you about how Glenn was telling us in his text how he'd had a busy week working his backside off, and then the pub got robbed on Sunday. He's going to tell us all about it, I think. Now, hi, Glenn.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, man. So sorry about I'm sorry about what happened on Sunday. But tell us about the week. Sounds like it's business as normal, pretty much. You got a lot of business.
Oh, yeah. But, Alan, I'm so grateful, actually, for the last few weeks when I've been on talking to you. The amount of night owlers that have sent me messages on Facebook and things and wishing us luck with the reopening.
Great.
And it really, actually, it cheered me up, mate.
Good.
They're a good bunch, all the listeners. And
absolutely.
I think I must have had about 12 direct messages found us on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it meant a lot, actually.
Good.
But, yeah, this time last week I was listening to you as usual, and there were, well, I'll call them scum. Few undesirables driving around, and they came back 2:30, and they robbed the pub after a very busy weekend, working our butts off. As you know, I was on saying how we're struggling to try and turn things, get everything back now. But
did they get money? Did they get money, or did they get money, or just stock?
Well, they got money and stuff. Obviously, it's been dealt with by the police at the moment. They took the bottle of best brandy.
Right.
The best brandy, and they got the takings and stuff like. But it's one of them things, I guess. It's just, I can't believe that they've done it at this time. Obviously, all the pubs and stuff are struggling to move on from all the COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
And then just when we were thinking, champion, what a good weekend we've had. And I was just starting off after my night owls, and the place got robbed. So, as I told you before, it's my boss. It's his pub, not mine. But
did you have cameras?
I'm so sorry for him.
You have any cameras?
We do, mate. Yeah, the police have got cameras, and there's cameras within the village, the bank and things. So you never know.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
It's one of them things. We see what can happen, but just. I believe in what you said earlier, Alan, about karma,
Absolutely.
And I hope it comes back and it bites them.
It will. It will. It's just the frustrating thing is we don't often get a chance to see it. But bad stuff will happen to them. There's no question about it, because it always does.
Well, I don't want to wish bad on them because it'll get me bad karma. I'm just having hope that karma does do its dues on them. But no, you listeners, like I said, I've had loads of messages last week after being on, wishing us luck with the opening and stuff, and it meant the world. But it's one of them things, pal. But I just thought I'd come on and let you know because, like I said, someone messaged.
Yeah, it's a shame. That's just a damn shame.
These daft devices and stuff.
Tech, yes.
I've got in my kitchen, I've got an avocado smasher. Never been used. I got it because it was reduced. And I bought one of them spiralisers. You know when you sat watching the shopping telly on the night?
Yeah.
And I bought a spiraliser and a bee slicer. And it's supposed to spiral over your cucumber to look like
spaghetti.
Pasta, I guess.
Yeah.
One of them stupid things that'll never be used.
Yeah. I've seen these things, but you do get sucked into them. Now, I do no cooking. None at all. I'm not allowed. I do no cooking at all. But I was watching one of the food channels, and this guy, I think his name was Emeril or something like that. He's a chef. Yeah. My name is Emeril, and I'm going to tell you about this new gadget. And it was this gadget that essentially, it's kind of like a slow cooker, but it does everything. It can microwave.
Yeah, like
it
a
can.
crock pot. Yeah.
It's just this, and I was thinking, I've got to have one of these things. Got to have it. Then of course you mention it to my wife, and she's going, "Why? You can do all of that on a cooker. Why would you need to?" But I'd got sucked in. I thought this is going to be really handy. She loved one of them. Oh no. No.
You know what I did, Alan? It was about 15 years ago. I was a bit daft. It was late at night. I went on the shopping channel, and I started buying all this. But it was a bid one. You know, you bid down and get the best price.
Yeah.
Well, I'd registered, but I'd not registered the right email address.
Right.
And I just copied and pasted it, so I wasn't getting the notifications that I was winning. And I think, no, I'm not winning. So I bid on the next one. I bid £900 worth of stuff turned up at the house. I bid on everything, and I'd won all these bids.
Jeez.
And I was living at my mum's at the time. She was going, the delivery, the postman keeps coming back. What's he got?
£900 worth?
£900 worth. I'm surprised my bank didn't think there was something funny going on, but not one bit of it I cared. It was all random tab that I didn't want. But it costed a few hundred, I think, in returning it, because you pay about a £5 per item to post it.
Right.
I think I had a few cutlery sets.
But you see, this is how that late night, not just the late night shopping channels, but you've got all those gambly ones as well. Have a go at the roulette, have a game of cards, if you get in drunk, and most of us are kind of auto-sensitive to just give us a call, you could win £1,000. I'll have a go with that. You know, it's no surprise to me that they make a fortune late at night with people that have indulged.
I stay off it when I've had a drink now, believe me. And I've had no Prosecco tonight. I've had enough over the weekend, because I've said to the customers, get me some Prosecco, get this. So I'm having a night off it tonight.
All right. Hey, well, thanks for coming on, Glenn. Fingers crossed that onwards and upwards.
Champion, mate.
Thanks a lot. Take it easy.
Soon.
Bye-bye. What a damn shame. You know, as if businesses don't have it hard enough, you get scummers coming in and just taking. Let's hope those cameras around the village and the ones in the pub can help the police to a result. We couldn't have deal with it. Now, we're going to talk to Omar fairly soon, and it's a good thing, because I was in the supermarket a couple of days ago, and one of the women there said to me, "Oh, you never guess what I'm doing tomorrow night. I'm going to look at the comet, and I'm going to set up my telescope in the street so the neighbours can all come out and look through my telescope at the comet." And I thought, I would probably never stay up for a comet, and yet it probably would look really cool. So I'm going to talk to Omar, because I think he's actually he says he's on St. Mary's Island looking at the comet. Now, I know a few people that have gone down to St. Mary's Island, and they tend to be looking at the man and woman in the car performing various positions. But, there's got to be a place for that kind of thing. And apparently that car park up there used to be it. But anyway, Kirsty from South Hetton has nothing to do with that, I guess, and she is on line 9 next. Hello, Kirsty.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, darling. What you got for us tonight?
I was just ringing in really to ask for your or some of the night owls' advice.
Mm-hmm.
I've started a business for myself around 2 or 3 months ago. I got sacked during the coronavirus.
Right.
It's just for beauty products and gift sets and Christmas baskets.
All right.
But I was just looking for advice how to sort of expand, if anyone knew anything about website making and the best way to sort of get noticed.
I mean, have you got any website at the moment?
No, not at the minute. No, I'm looking to set one up.
Right, because once you've got the idea is a website nowadays is like a little shop. You set it up and you drive people to it if you can. I think it's a hard call. I think it's a tough thing because everybody's doing it, kind of. You know, everybody's got a website of one sort or another. But why the hell not? You know, at least you don't have to buy premises and stock and all of that kind of stuff. You can do it small scale or large scale. There are a couple of companies that advertise on TV that'll do a website for you. It's about 30 or 40 quid. So what I would suggest is maybe contacting a local college, you know, Durham, in Durham or Sunderland, and say to them, do you have any computer students who are capable of setting up websites. I'll slide them a few quid if they'll set one up for me, because that's kind of what they're doing at college. You know, they're learning how to do these things, and a lot of them have been setting up websites since they were 14. You know, if it's not your world, you think it's the toughest thing in the world. Yet to put together a relatively simple website that you can buy from isn't really that complicated. You know, if you've got a bit of nous, you can do it. It's not your nous, but if you go to put a notice up, you know, in the computer room, I have a word with the tutor and say, look, we got a woman here. Does anybody fancy it? And ask somebody to send an example of what they can do. Oh, that'll do me. What do you want pictures of? Send them the pictures that you want, that you think would advertise your wares, and let them put something together for you. You know, it's, there are ways of doing it that don't cost the earth, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, that's something I do. Yeah, I've set up on Facebook and eBay and everything, and
Right.
I've been doing much better than expected.
Great.
And it's just obviously moving towards the next step that I just wanted advice from. But that is a great idea, and I think I'm going to start looking towards that tomorrow.
Where do you want to take it then?
As far as possible, really.
Right. Because, I mean, even if you put a shout out on Facebook, I'm looking for somebody who can design me a website, you'd probably get half a dozen people saying, I'll do it. You know, because there's a lot of people sitting around furloughed, bored out of their brains, and there'll be a lot of tech folk out there just in the same situation, and they're looking for an extra 10 quid, 20 quid, 30 quid, whatever you're prepared to pay. Bottom line is, if you get the right one, get it done right, because what you don't want is to have to keep going back to the same person saying, well, now what do I do, and now what do I do, and now what do I do? It's got to be idiot-proof, so it basically looks after itself, and you don't need any backup, because backup means you're paying somebody else.
Yeah.
And when you're a new business, you need the best start you can get, really. Hey, but good luck. I mean, where do you want to take it, though? You've got a few items that you're selling now. Do you want to bring in new stuff? Because obviously that would have to be added to the site, and you'd have to find a way so that you can do it yourself without necessitating anybody else getting involved.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I get new stock every couple of weeks.
Great.
So it's updating the website and everything, being in contact with the persons, you know, so they could obviously help me along the way until I know what to do myself.
Well, what I think you need is to get the shop set up, and then when you want to add something, you take a picture, and there should be just a button where you say attach, boom, it's on. And how you get it off, you press a button, you say remove, and it's done. And then you don't have to keep ringing somebody, because that somebody's going to say, well, I've got to give you a price for all of these. You know, you want it simple and straightforward, and easy for people to purchase, obviously. But you definitely need one. And as I say, there are a few that advertise on television and what have you. But if they're advertising on TV, they're not going to be cheap, because they've got to pay for the advert on the telly to start with. But I just think reach out. Probably listening right now, there might be somebody. If you live anywhere near Southampton, if you're within a car journey of Southampton, and you've got the capability of putting a website together, a decent one where you can buy and sell, get in touch with the show, and I'll pass on any telephone numbers that we get. Might be able to cut out the middleman before we even start.
Would I be allowed to mention my Facebook page?
Of course you can. Sell. Go for it.
It's called Kirsty's Girly Gifts. Sell all beauty products, girly gifts, fragrances, necklaces, all types of things. Christmas boxes already.
Okay. Well, let's hope it does a bit of good. And if anybody is capable of doing the whole website thing, give us a call. I'll hook the pair of you up, and you can take it from there. Good luck. Thank you, Kirsty.
Right. Thank you, Alan.
You're
really
welcome, darling.
it.
Bless you. Bye-bye. And it's hard enough getting started. If anybody can help her, if you're a bit of a techno whiz and you can do that, please give Chris a call right now. He knows about it on 0191 488 3188. Now, I have neglected something. I haven't given you your first two clues. Now, Chris on the phone's got this straight away. This song, it was a big hit And if you're a northern person, you will know the answer. This, I'm telling you, this is your northern credentials if you get this wrong. I'm going to give you 2 clues because we're kind of halfway to the second clue already. The first clue is a name given to people born within the sight of the River Tyne. I know it's more complicated than that. It was actually when the people of Newcastle fought for King George, when everybody else in the region wanted to depose him. The people of Newcastle fought for King George, so they called this word. People born within sight of the River Tyne, or, if you want to keep it greatest hits, and that's what we are, the rock band that Brian Johnson was in before AC/DC. Okay? There's a second clue. That's the same word. Clue 2. Thin Lizzy told us they were back in town. Who were back in town? That's your first 2 words from a song. There's 2 more words to come. Don't have a guess until you hear the second 2. And then let's see what you're made of tonight. It's an important one. Anyway, let's crack on. We have next Omar from Hebburn on location. Now, I mentioned he's in an arguably dodgy car park. Let's see where he's at. Hi, Omar.
Hi, Alan Sampson, technology reporter Omar from Hebburn, reporting live from St Mary's Island.
Hurrah! And I'm telling you, that is a place where people tend to get their telescopes out.
Yeah, I'm just looking in the opposite direction for the moment.
Now, I was told that this comet's supposed to hit round about midnight. Is that right?
Well, it's been here most of the month. We're into the last week or so of its visibility.
Right.
It's moving out of range of the sun, so it's not reflecting enough light back to Earth.
Right.
To be able to see it.
How come on St Mary's Lighthouse, behind you though are the lights of Whitley Bay? Does that not take away some of the visibility?
Well, we're looking north, out towards Blythe.
Right.
So there's a little bit of light from the city, but you're looking pretty much straight up. The light pollution's not great here. But I've been out. This is now the 5th night this week I've been out.
So how good is the pictures that you're getting then?
Well, I'll have to send you some in a moment. But Monday and Tuesday, the pictures were fabulous.
Right.
Yesterday, I tried to take a couple, but it was too faint, even on a long exposure for the camera to pick up. But I'm here with binoculars, and I was out during the week with a couple of guys with telescopes as well.
Right, okay. I just don't tell people, you know. I was at St Mary's Lighthouse and all my mates had their telescopes. It's just not a thing to say in mixed company, you know. That's the thing. You haven't been harassed? Has anybody flashed their headlights at you and said, "Come in"?
We've had loads of headlights flashing, ruining our dark vision. But, because of the wetlands here, and because it's right on the coast, and once the light on the lighthouse itself turns off,
right,
it's actually quite dark. You can actually see so much of the Milky Way.
Right.
If you're in a residential area or you've got street lights around you, you're not going to see anything.
No, you're lost. No, but you know, the pictures of the comet that you got early doors in the week, are you seeing the full business, the comet with the tail, the whole thing? Yeah.
She's absolutely gorgeous.
Right. So, I mean, what's this comet called? Has it got a name?
So it was spotted at I believe it was the end of February by a brand new telescope called Neowise.
Right.
So they've called it the Neowise Comet.
Gotcha.
It's never been observed before. This is the first time it's been seen, and it was spotted just months before it came into view.
Right.
Which is actually quite startling. But it's the first time it's been through our solar system. Right. It'll be back in about 6,800 years.
Right. I'll probably catch it there. Probably catch it then.
I'm sure you saw it the first time.
Hey, but the thing with comets, how close to the Earth roughly was it, Omar?
Well, this one is 160-odd million miles away.
Jeepers.
Which is about 4 and a bit times the distance from Earth to Mars.
The fact that we can see it at all is a miracle, then.
Oh yes, absolutely. As soon as I'm off, I don't want to risk sending you any pictures now because the signal's a bit spotty here.
Right.
But as soon as I'm off, I'll send you a couple of really nice pictures.
Oh, that's great. And with your permission, can we stick them on the net so everybody can see?
Oh, absolutely.
Great. We'll definitely do that.
But if anybody wants to see it, the clouds are clearing up now. So if you get down here, it'll be visible well, cloud cover permitting, it'll be visible all the way up to about 3 in the morning. I've been out. I said this is my 5th night this week. I've been out, staying up late to see this.
Right.
So yeah, after the show, if you want to pop round, pop round. I've got everything set up.
Fabulous. Hey, it's great stuff. It's one of those things that I went to an observatory on Teesside, and the guy says, have you ever looked through a proper telescope? And obviously, it's not the Hubble, but it's a sizable telescope they've got. And I thought that it was just awe-inspiring because you can see every damn thing. On the moon, for example, you can see, craters, and it's incredible what you can see with the decent quality telescopes these days.
Well, right this minute, let me just lean over a bit. But right this minute, I am looking at Jupiter.
Right.
Which is low in the southern sky. I can see 4 of its moons glinting at me as they orbit round. And just to the left of that, you will be able to see Saturn. And with these binoculars, I mean, these are reasonably good binoculars, but with these you can see just about make out the gap between Saturn and its rings.
Right.
And that's just with a pair of binos.
That's another thing you don't see in mixed company. I was out with a few lads and they had their telescopes out and I could see the rings. Now just leave it. Walk away, Omar. Hey, but it's a fabulous thing. I'm jealous of you. The fact that, first of all, you're out in the fresh air, which is great. You're at the coast. That's a bonus. And the fact is you're seeing something that is a one time in 6,000 years kind of event. That's full on.
Well, the nice thing is that as I've been out all week, there's been Sunderland Astro Club are up here. There was a couple of other serious astronomers with their telescopes setting up, and just a lot of casuals just walking up, thinking that this might be a good spot,
right?
And trying to see it with the naked eye. And I mean, I've been told I should have been charging people to have a look through the binoculars because there was a queue. Literally last night, there was an orderly queue of about 7 or 8 people just queuing up to have a look.
That's lovely. It's just a nice thing. Omar, lovely talking to you. Stay safe. And thank you very much. I'll watch out for those things coming in. Good man.
Back to the studio.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye. There you go. You see, he's our official correspondent. Tremendous. Now, talking about music, that's what we're about here on Greatest Hits. And we got something else for you from someone rather special.
I had one spooky encounter, but I was a bit worse for wear at the time, so I wouldn't say.
So you were open to new sensations at that point?
I was. I don't really think there was anything going on. I think it was me probably mumbling to myself. But I was in a hotel near Birmingham that's famous for being spooky.
Yeah.
And we'd been out all night in the bar, and I was trying to find. It was one of those ones you're trying to find your way back to your room, and you can't.
Yeah.
And I found myself down this weird sort of cul-de-sac. And I thought someone whispered in my ear. But I did get the whole sort of hair standing up on the back of my neck thing. That's about the spookiest thing I've had.
But you have a feeling that other spirits were at work.
Yeah, I think it's probably more to do with the vodka and cranberries and other things.
Do you believe in UFOs? What's your view on all of that? Ever had any of that kind of thing?
I have seen some sort of things that I can't explain. So I guess I should answer.
What was the most vivid thing you've seen?
When I was down in Wales, I saw these crazy lights in the sky once that were sort of moving around in an unbelievable way. They couldn't have been a plane or a helicopter, and I'd never really understood what it might have been. Hi, I'm David Gray with Alan.
Friday night.
This is the home of Alan Robson's Night Owls.
With the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio.
There you go, David. Great babble on, and I shall babble on a bit more because we're talking to James, who is in Anetsford. Hi, James.
I've got a cough there. I hope it's not Corona there, Hal.
No, it's not. No, you're all right.
Right.
I just hope it's not that. There's somebody cradling my testicles cough. As long as it's not that, that's more worrying.
On about things you used to have back in the day, you know. Alan.
Yeah, tech. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, aye, right. My first VHS recorder, it had great big buttons on the front. Well, it wasn't buttons; they were like arms. You know what you had? What you had to press down for play, record, and all that.
Yes.
And oh my goodness, I used to like tape Top the Pops. But at the time, I used to press the button down, half the song was gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was really, brought me back with like a brick to put in the front.
No, I had a one similar. I think it was a Philips, and you had to press play and record at the same time. And I would press play and record, and then when you went back to watch it again, usually because of Pan's people, it was part of puberty. It's just growing up. It's normal. Anyway, you'd press play and record, and then you'd look, and you'd just got play, which meant it wasn't recording anything, and you'd missed the whole damn thing. Grrr.
I used to have to press and play and record at the same time. I never thought about that. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
You had to press them both at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
But in my first shaver, oh my God, it was a Wilkinson sword one.
Right. Oh, it's supposed to be the best a man could get.
No, but no, far from it. You had the handle, and you had to twist the handle, and it opened the steel shutter at the top.
Right.
And used to have the blade would come in paper bags, you know, like grease-proof bags.
Right.
And you used to have to take the blade out and put it in, then twist the handle to shut it down again.
What a class.
And have a shave. Or if you had a spot or something, you were looking sick. You used to come straight off of it, you know.
Surprised people didn't die of blood poisoning. They went every zit you got.
Like getting them blades in and getting them out, you'd have fingers left.
Right.
You know, it was bad. It was bad.
You've just brought a memory back to me as well. Something that me, because I had really long hair. My mother was always on it as saying, "Get your hair cut." And the people at school, "Get your hair cut." It was always that. And my mother bought one of these gadgets off the telly, and it looked like a comb, but it had a blade in it. And you were supposed to be able to cut your own hair, and you'd brush it through your hair, and it would literally rip your hair out. But my dad used it, and he used it for years.
That's what I was going to mention in the next one.
Wow,
I got the same comb. It was like a dicky comb, you know, with a blade in.
Yes, exactly that. And it was supposed to give you a beautiful, smooth haircut. It just tore your hair out.
I ended up in that because I come in drunk, you know, and I was going, oh, my goodness. I woke up in the morning and I was just patches all that way. I baldy, you know, I knew. But I had hair then, you know. And I woke up in the morning and I thought, oh, my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
You know?
Not good. Not a good
There's only one last thing.
What's that?
Quick, and
Sorry.
You know, they're going to have the masks on for, like, next 24th.
Yes.
Right. It's supposed to be low. You've got to wear them for the down the shops and that.
Yeah.
But that's bad. But it's going to be worse the week after because we're going to have to wear Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and all that. You know, the whole outfits. You know what I mean? It's because what I can't get, right, is that I could understand wearing them masks in January, February, when it's starting to kick off.
Yeah.
When it's all nearly finished, we've compulsory got to wear their masks. That's where I'm saying if the government says we've got to wear Mickey Mouse outfits, I wonder if we would wear them, you know?
No, I get it. But even though we're told that's the date you got to wear your mask, Boris last week said, don't worry about wearing your mask, just get back to work.
Yeah.
And then, like 3 weeks later, if you don't wear a mask, you'll be fined, or you'll be this, or you'll be that. It's just control and control and control. It's a scary thing.
To me, it doesn't make any. That doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I wonder if it would say if they say where everybody's going to wear a Mickey Mouse outfit. I wonder what how to do that now.
I wanted to get about. Oh, blame me! It was something I actually gave away on the show about. It'd be over a year ago now. On Night Owls, I got sent some stuff from one of those Fast and Furious films. Can't even remember which one it was.
Oh, yeah.
But they sent me like a rucksack with Fast and Furious, whatever the latest movie was called, written on the back, Fast and Furious pen, and one of those masks that you put over that motorbike people wear.
All right,
that's
yeah.
the bottom of a skull.
Uh-huh.
Don't know whether you've seen them.
I've seen them, yeah. I know what you mean.
And I thought, now that's what I would need. At least it's got a bit of cred attached to it. And I mentioned that to this guy, and he says, "Nah, you'd look like a bleep," and I probably would, but I still would have worn it rather than the blue one that nips your nose.
Yeah, no, to me it doesn't make any. You see, I kind of see the sense after it all gone, you know.
Well,
like in February, and there's also one thing what really gets up my nose, and it has done from day one, is that they cancelled all the cancer treatments and everything.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more people, believe it or not, going to die with bless their whole souls with that sort of thing.
With operations cancelled as well, thousands.
With that,
thousands.
And treatments cancelled and all on.
Yeah.
With all that, then the corona's ever done. You know, so anyway.
It's scary. But on top of that, at the beginning of the show, I mentioned that you don't need a mask if you go to a gym. Don't need a mask if you go to an office, any office. Don't need a mask if you go to a pub or a restaurant now. You got to walk in with one, but then you take it off and you have your dinner, you have a drink. But then when you go into a shop next door, you got to put your mask on. It just doesn't balance, does it?
A bus or a shop.
Bus or a shop.
You've got to wear a mask. Wait, I just cannot see. You know. Yeah. Anyway. That's me rabble hour. But it was good thinking about reminiscing about what you used to do, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
One way to get rid of spots is use one of them old razors.
Nice one, man. Thanks, James. All the best.
You are, mate.
Bye-bye. I couldn't believe he had one of them things that you cut your hair with. They were deadly. They're knacked. I remember my mum saying, "Tell you what, I'll just trim a little bit off the top. Sit down in front of me," and then I'd sit in front of me ma. How old would I be? 14, probably, maybe 15. And you'd just be screaming. Nasty damn things. They probably still exist somewhere. Somebody, somewhere, in a drawer will have one. And to me, it should be there with a stiletto and a flick knife razor, because it's a deadly. If the police had them and said, "Look, unless you stop messing about in this bar, I'm going to cut your hair," that would stop them. Alison from Anfield Plain. Let's go there next. We've got some blah coming on soon too. Hi, Alison.
Hi there, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm good, darling. Thank you very much for calling back. What are you talking about tonight?
Oh, well, a bit of everything, really.
Great.
First of all, the old tech you've been talking about, that's just like, we had such a fantastic thing happen this week with a bit of old tech.
Yeah.
We were sorting the loft out, as you do, because Rob's still on furlough, so literally it's find a job. So we were sorting the loft out and come across a whole load of old videos.
All right.
VHS videos. Well, we didn't have a VHS recorder, so we had to put a post on Facebook and get a recorder. And when we started playing the videos, Rob's been wanting to find a video of like his mum and dad, because they both passed away quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he found some video footage of his mum and dad on the videos.
How good is that?
So it was one of those moments, and it's absolutely fantastic that like people keep a hold of some of their old tech, because it does come in useful sometimes.
How did you attach it? First of all, it's a wonderful thing that he found something that special, because I was going to say, well, most things you can get on your terrestrial telly now, You know, the films and stuff and telly programmes, because all the old ones are on some channel or other. But how did you rig it up to your telly? Did you still have all the cables and everything?
Yeah, the girl who lent us it, she had all the cables done. It was just plugged straight in the back of the telly. And we sat, it was one day midweek.
Yeah.
And we literally started about 12 o'clock lunchtime.
Right.
And at 10 o'clock at night, we both kind of went, we haven't had anything to eat. All right. We just sat and watched these videos. And literally, it was like, I found one of my kids when they were younger.
Wow.
And like they're coming up 30 now, and this was like their second birthday and things like that I'd forgot existed.
I would imagine your fashion's probably changed over the years and your hairstyle and what have you.
Probably about the same, actually. I've gone backwards. I've gone short again. I went long in the middle, but like I've gone back to short now.
Right.
So no, it's probably about the same. But it's just so, like, you realise how, like, I know it's the business that I do to help people to record memories, and I think it's so important that people have videos of family and stuff like that, and he didn't have any and didn't know it existed. So that was something really special when that came up.
Yeah, it's funny because I've got no video of any family at all anywhere, and you'd think in this day and age everybody should, really, shouldn't they? I mean,
yeah. Well, it's one of like the business that I do, leaving a lasting impression. It's about the people that are left and having that connection. It just makes the connection. It was such a warm feeling to just be able to, and it because it wasn't scripted or it was just a moment in a caravan that was videoed.
Right.
It was like you get to see them natural, and you get to see.
It's like they're there again.
It just makes the connection like much more vivid again, and it's not a sad thing, it's a happy thing.
But I mean, when you found the VHS tapes, were they all, there's Jaws and Airplane and all the ones, the old-fashioned movies, or were they all just tapes you'd recorded so you had no idea what was on them?
Yep, they were all just random tapes. The funniest one, the one that we actually put in first, was some that Rob had gotten from his mum and dad's house, so we didn't have a clue what was on them. So it was kind of like press play and like sit back thinking, oh God, what's going to be on them? But there was one that was marked Charlie's first birthday, which is Rob's son's first birthday. So we got really excited thinking, and it was his dad must have taped the Grand Prix over the top.
Right.
So it started off a picture of Charlie, and then we watched the 2-hour video, and at the end of it, there was another bit where it crackled a little bit, and then went back to Charlie for 3 seconds.
Blimey.
So that was quite funny, but that's the kind of things that people did, didn't they? Unless you took the plugs out.
Yeah, but the thing is, with videos that you don't know what's on, you got to remember some of the things recorded on there could have been very dubious.
Well, that's what we were a bit worried about. It was kind of, we pressed it with thinking, God, what's on here?
Make sure the bed's a bed, right?
Good grief, you think, what could it have been? Because back then, people used to just record over the top and not write anything on them.
No, that's true, because I can remember me mum, because I had to teach me mum how to use hers, back in the day. And when I visited her house, she said, put a video in, I want to record this. And I said, well, which one can I use? And she says, they're all marked. And she'd done that thing that I didn't think anybody did. You'd get video covers that were made of to make them look like books.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And you opened them, and the middle bit of the video, she'd written on Peyton Place, Coronations, whatever was on. And they all had the same thing, but they all looked like books, but they weren't books.
Yeah.
They were just cheap, placky covers, presumably. Yeah. I mean, you had to try and find a one that didn't have anything written on it so that then she could write on whatever. But she taped over them all. So it would be Peyton Place last week, but it would also be Peyton Place next week, followed by Coronation Street, followed by EastEnders, followed by Brookside, or whatever other soap was going at the time. Crazy.
Well, it was quite funny with Rob's because his started off really basic, obviously, when he got his camcorder. And then it went on to, it was camcorder footage with music over the top.
Oh, he'd put music on it. Oh, that's
Like,
doing it.
And you can like tell how it's progressed over the years. And it went from like really bad, like wobbly, to then he got a tripod. And then it was like still. And then it had music on. It was really funny. But I found it, my daughter's 4th birthday party at McDonald's. She only used to go to McDonald's for a party.
Everybody did, yeah. It was
I don't know if
practically
you
the
still
law.
do that or not. But
Sure you
she
can.
did that for her 4th birthday.
Yeah.
But I recorded the whole thing and literally past the parcel at the end. The song that they were playing past the parcel to was "Let's Talk About Sex, Baby."
What? That's bizarre.
We couldn't believe it. It was like, that wouldn't happen now, would it?
No, I don't think so. It's weird because taking the kids to McDonald's was a thing. And everybody kind of, and you got a little corner of the McDonald's, usually where the little mushrooms were, and all the kids would be sitting down there and they'd just feed their faces and then play the staff would come out and play a few little games with them.
Yeah, on this one there was a woman like waving her arms about the whole time.
Yeah. Or making them dance, and we're going to dance now. We'll give a prize to the best dance. You can get yourself a McFlurry or an ice cream or whatever it was at the time.
It
Crazy.
was always a posh party when you went to McDonald's.
Tell you, had to have money.
Yeah, that was it. I think they only did it twice. But yeah, one of the other things I wanted to talk about was the mask.
Right. What's your view?
And the fact that I can't, I have to, obviously, but I find it really difficult to wear one. I get really claustrophobic.
Right. No, I know a few people have said that. And some people who are already short of breath, their doctors tell them, don't wear a mask. So I presume they're never going to be allowed in a shop.
Exactly. You get frowned at, don't you? But if you're not wearing one, because I just keep saying I'm going to have to get all my shopping done this week because I'm not going to be going out after that.
Well, I don't think it'll be around long. I think it's going to be one of those things that comes in. They'll probably keep it going for about a month and then they'll say, well, I think we're all right now. I hope that that's the case. But with Boris saying, by Christmas, everything will be completely back to normal again. And yet, it was only a fortnight ago he was saying, well, there's going to be the new normal now. The new normal, whatever that is. In other words, but what it feels like, and I could be very, very wrong, and I have a lot of sympathy for anybody who's been hurt by the virus or has lost their lives or lost family members by it. I have absolute sympathy for those people. But this scientist mentioned today, where was the clip? He mentioned that, masks and everything to do with the lockdown was designed to make us submissive and obey what the government say because we were totally unlike that before. But now it's like somebody's pulled the dog leash and everybody's behaving again. Now, I kind of, if there's any hint of truth in that, that's not a good thing. We're heading towards the Hunger Games. We'll have a bow and arrow in our hands next.
Well, it does feel a bit like that because it seems just like, it's kind of like obey, isn't it? And even though it doesn't make sense, and that's the bit that gets me. It doesn't, none of it really, there are some bits that you think, that's common sense. But there's the callers who've just been on about gyms and pubs and yet you go into a supermarket, but you don't have to wear one this week. How can we not be if they were going to implement that because it was going to save lives and because it was
got to be all or nothing. All or nothing.
It should have been done that day.
Yeah. The other thing is,
wait till the
we talk about the obey thing. Something that I think should rankle everybody is the street police. You walk that way up, you walk that way down, and then you go into the shop. Let me pick a shop in Newcastle just for sake of argument. TK Maxx. To walk left, walk right, don't walk across in the middle. And then you get into TK Maxx where you've got to go up an elevator a foot away from the people coming down in the elevator. Well, what is that? What sense is that?
Crazy.
The whole thing,
but
though,
it's
is
hand sanitizer as well.
Yes.
That I I keep saying, when this all first started, if I don't get knocked out by corona, I'm going to get knocked out by Dettol poisoning. because it's like I never used to use that much, and now we're doing it to everything, and it's like you go into places and they like put our hand sanitizer on. You haven't got a clue what's in their hand sanitizer.
No. I went into a card shop the other day, and I was just going to go in, no mask. I've not been a mask wearer, I have to say.
I haven't, not you haven't.
And so I walloped across into a card shop, pick up somebody's birthday coming up, and would you mind doing your hands? So even though I'd just done them when I actually left the last place, but okay, I'll do them again. So do me hands, and then you get in there, and you're not even within a foot. I mean, you're within 8 inches of people who want the cards where you are, and they come and stand next to you, and they get the card they want. It's just none of it adds up. It's all wonky. That's the
doesn't
thing.
make sense, does it? It's just like ooh.
I know.
It's really weird. You just kind of you want to talk about it. You want to say like what you think, but then you think, no, I'll not.
But you see,
That's exactly what I think.
What's needed is consistency. If you're going to do something, do it totally, or you don't do it at all. You cannot have this half-half. And now Boris has said Britain will not be locked down again. He's made a promise, and he said, I wouldn't use that tool anymore. So he wouldn't lock down anymore, even though his own government's saying, well, we've had to close down a bit of Birmingham, we've had to close down a bit of here, but he wouldn't use the lockdown because he doesn't think it's a good idea. Well, why did we do it for so long if it was a bad idea? You see, it
exactly,
doesn't...
and it's crippled. Where have they got all the money from? They kind of, it's as if it was, I know that it'll not have been, but it's as if it was planned because they had no money for nothing.
And now they've got
And
tons
then
of
all
money
a sudden,
from... Yeah.
Yes, billions they're throwing at things.
They've got an excuse to borrow another X point, however many billion, to keep us in debt for even longer, and then they're going to have to claw it back. And trust us, we're going to end up paying for everything big stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's like people who've been, I feel so sorry, like we've been in this boat as well, so people who've been furloughed and had payments stopped and payments like they've said, oh, we'll give you a 3-month break or whatever. But then you get the letters with like, oh, well, it just means that you've got to pay it now for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So like council tax and things like that. It's like right now you'll just pay a massive payment for the rest of the year. So it was kind of like they were trying to help, but a lot of the things that were put into place are going to leave a lot of people in such a bad way to get back.
No, for sure. There's one of them that I think people who drive cars should be aware of. They've done this thing where they say your MOT for your car, you don't need to update it. You can get a 6-month extension on it. Now that's worth a few quid, because it's essentially you're getting 6 months extra. But you can't pay your road tax unless you get an MOT. So, but the MOT still works, but you've got to notify them on an email address that isn't generally known. In other words, you're going to have to research to find this sucker, and you have to tell them that you want to delay it, and then they've got to send you a confirmation. But the problem is there's very few of them back at work, so that might not happen, so you end up not being able to pay your road tax, so you're on the road illegally. Now, that doesn't make sense. Why would you? Why would you? You just got to be a bit careful. But you've got to register with them and tell them that you want to have this extension. And if you don't, then you will not be able to pay for your road tax if it's due within that 6 month period.
Insurance is void and things.
Yes.
Wow.
Nobody tells you.
That's the list for tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Just look it up. Hang on, I might actually. Bear with me. I did all the same research that I'm telling everybody else to do. I think I've still got it somewhere. Let me just have I don't normally look at my text screen while I'm. Hang on. It's on me WhatsApp, I think. Bear with me a second. There it is. And I only got this courtesy of What Car magazine. How do I renew my tax? Bear with me a second. It's in here. you've got to send your details, and what they ask for is your name and address, your car registration, and when your MOT is due. Okay? So you need those things. And hang on, I'm finding it for you. It's right down the bottom here somewhere. Oh, yeah, there you go. You email, have you got a pen?
Yeah, I have.
In lowercase,
Yep.
COVID-19, the 19 is numbers.
Yep.
COVID-19 MOT. That's all one, it's not even a word, but it's all one splurge. At DVSA.
Yep.
.gov.uk, stating the date the MOT expires, the car's registration number, and you just ask them, can you defer my MOT, extend my MOT for 6 months, please?
Oh, fab.
All right.
Yeah.
It's just, they don't tell you.
To-do list. They don't?
They don't tell you. Why didn't they tell you? If they're going to offer it, that should be on the news. But anyway, hey.
Well, they're too busy saying, wear your mask when you go into the supermarket next week.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter about your MOT and your
No, what you say?
wear your mask.
What I think is happening is the government don't want it generally known so that everybody just keeps paying. But they've made this decision. It should benefit motorists. I'm not going to tell them. Not going to tell them. If they can brag about it, but we're not going to make it easy for you. So hopefully that's helped somebody.
It has. That's helped a lot. Thank you very much.
No bosh. Anything else, Alison?
Well, there was one more thing.
Go on then.
You mentioned this. You were on about pictures on the wall.
Yes.
Well, Rob has, my daughter drew him an Audi S1 rally car on a huge big canvas that he has on the wall, and she painted it. Well, yesterday, because it was his 50th birthday in February, and yesterday he finally got his tattoo, and he had it tattooed on his arm.
Wow. It must have been a really good painting then.
It was a really, really good painting. He's had like a seam put on his shoulder where it's got the Audi S1, it's got brand hatch circuit, because he used to be senior instructor of brand hatch.
Oh, wow.
And then it's got his hand holding a stopwatch. So it's like all of this scene, but in the middle of this scene, I'll send you a picture.
Please.
It's this S1 that my daughter did a painting of.
Great. Hey, as I say, it must have been great for him to... He probably took a picture of it and showed it to the tattooist. And
he did, yes.
That's great. Hey, top job.
A big shout out to Youngie's Tattoo with a great lovely. He's done an amazing job. Absolutely amazing.
Excellent. Well done, Youngie. Thank you very much. Good talking to you, Alison. Thanks, darling.
Alan. Speak to you soon.
Bye-bye. Anfield playing Hoorah! And time for a piece of music. And maybe you start to go with it. I was lucky enough to have a chat with Supertramp.
Solid rockers, and yet if you to listen to your music, you've got bits of blues, you've got bits of jazz. On stage, you've even done old Perry Como's You're Adorable, I think, at one point in your career. You were doing that, I seem to remember. You've done all kinds.
That was a little light relief, yeah. It wasn't anything we would do a complete album of. I had this jacket that used to light up.
Yeah, with the bulbs, saw it. Classic.
Yeah. Oh, you saw it?
Yeah,
oh,
it was a class. Absolutely.
I didn't know you were that old. My goodness.
I tell you. There's not much I miss, I'll tell you that for sure. So were you never at risk that, I don't know, you'd step in a puddle of lager side stage and go up? Did you not worry wearing that suit?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was actually a little daunting at times, yeah. But I survived.
I could imagine every house within about a half a mile radius, the lights dipped when you came on.
Yeah, well, that was my charisma, mate.
Oh, you weren't plugged into the mains at all, were you?
Oh, no.
Hi, my name is Rick Davis, and you're listening to Alan Robson.
And it is a fantastic programme. You're listening to Alan, and he's wonderful.
Whoa. Hello, everybody. It's Alan Robson, of course. Thank you very much for watching. We're coming to the end of the stream bit, but we've got another hour and a half to go. Supertramp's playing one of their tunes right now. If you're into into good quality, greatest hitsy kind music. We're here for that. But we're talking and chatting. We've got the blah next, which is usually scandalous and usually ridiculous. Hope you're going to tune in for that. And thank you very much for being with us. Join us next week, or retune, refiddle, get your Alexa on and get sorted. We'd love to keep you to the end. Thanks a lot, guys. All the very best.